about the economic benefits. I don't think there'll be any argument about the ecological benefits of the project. The refurbishment of the river, we do need a better biosecurity site. We do need something that's first world, whether it's 40 metres or 160 metres. We don't want you people that are delivering the service and the customers standing out in the rain. So ecologically, it is sound. No one here is disagreeing. The project.
And we need
So I'd like to pass my right. Thank you very much. And someone else from the group can speak. But guys, it's pretty hostile here. So.
Right. Can I have? Hang on a moment. The next speaker, Hilmari Schultz.
Kia ora, my name is Hilmari Schultz, and I'm part of the Kāpiti board. And like Scott said, it is quite intimidating being here. And for me, I would like the council to look at this project, to lift our heads, to look at the long term. We have a lot of issues in front of us currently, but I want to look at this. When we talk about economic well-being, what does it mean? So economic well-being means we use our economic resources as well as all our economic opportunities to create employment, to create an income for our communities, as well as build our assets. That in turn will lead to more opportunities and choices. And I think that's what we have in front of us today, is those economic choices, because that's the means to an end. So when we look at the reports that was put in front of us, it is tools to make those decisions. I haven't heard anything saying against the Kāpiti Gateway project this morning. It's about some of the things in the project that might still need some development, and that we have to look at this. So for me, it is about this long term. COVID-19 had a significant impact. It is a negative economic shock. We have one every 10 years. We had the global financial crisis. Before that, we had the Asian financial crisis. 10 years before that, we had a huge economic oil shock. And every time it is said, we need to be resilient. Now, if you look at those shocks, what are the two main things that happen? The centres, the further away you are from the centres, us, from Wellington, the more adversely you're impacted. The second is if you do not have a diversified economy, you are screwed. So two of the things we need to do, we need to develop our connectedness in terms of Wellington through the destination plan, which includes this project. And the second is, there were talks this morning about the priority of tourism. It's part of diversifying the economy. And it's a part of looking after our biodiversity and ecology. So this project, of which half of the capital will come from the Provincial Growth Fund, it's done, it's there, it's not additional debt. So for me, it's very important that we as a board have a positive and a green light to this council to say that it will bring income. It might take a while, but it will. It will create jobs. And it will also add to the strategic asset base of this district. So if we look at those three things, us as a board supports this project because we do know that economic well-being is an integrated part of economic, social and cultural well-being, because we want to leave a place that our mokopunas mokopuna are proud of and can sustain and can actually have an income. So if we say no today, this project will not go ahead. If we have to reconsult again, and we know that the consultation process might not have been that successful, but if we say no to this project, we are saying no to economic well-being. Kia ora.
Just stay there. Question time. Councillor Coates.
Paul Murray, welcome again, and not only in your role as kotahitanga, but also a ratepayer now, I believe, to the district.
Yep.
And again, having the privilege of going through the selection process for the kotahitanga board, having someone of your experience is invaluable. Could you tell me from your role at Burrell in terms of looking at the numbers? I imagine over time, for someone like myself that might need to study it for a bit to work out whether I think that it stacks up or not. In your role, having done probably lots of assessments, a quick glance can tell you pretty quickly how things look. How this appeared to you in terms of the numbers compared to other assessments that you've done in Burrell over the years or your staff have done?
Yeah, so Burrell's been around for 62 years. I think we've done about maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 economic impact assessments. This one was done by the book. It had solid methodology, it had a solid foundation, good assumptions. If you look at the numbers and the reviewed additional numbers that's come through in the last section, it does make sense. But it's clear, and we always advocate it, it's part of a package, it's not a silver bullet. So it's part of your decision-making tools. It's one of your tools that you should use in your decision-making.
Thank you. And just to follow up from that, we've heard today that information may not necessarily be accurate, and I think there's some merit to that. So let's just say that those numbers in the report are still slightly out. If you were to make a discount to those numbers, and obviously the question is by how much, but would the project still stack up, or is it a marginal project?
I think if I look at all the different options, it still stacks up. It doesn't matter if it's still a bit marginal, it will still stack up in terms of the long-term longevity of the project.
Thanks, Helmari.
Councillor McCann.
Thank you very much for coming in through you, Mr. Mayor. One of the discussions that we've had, and this might be outside your gambit, so forgive me, is that one of the operators are concerned about their ongoing business. We have asked questions that possibly give an indication of what some of those solutions are, being perhaps a moratorium on charging any excess fee, additional fees, and or re-looking at the the rate in which those fees will go up. Can you, from an economic perspective, give us a framework on how we would provide comfort to those operators that we don't want to drum them out of business, or that we can support them when it comes to looking at the tracking of the numbers going up and perhaps they don't? I'm just worried that we might not be able to demonstrate our intent in that area, and I may have asked a question you can't answer.
From our experience, I've been involved in quite a few of these projects, which is on the margin for councils, and in a lot of circumstances, councils do underwrite some of the commercial entities for a period, only for a period of time, to get over this first hump. But it's also, again, it's $80 that you spend going to Kāpiti Island, an additional $10 on top of that, after this gateway project is in place. But when we look at other projects and how much people actually will be able to spend in the region as a result of being here for the day and having access to that, that's a lot higher. So we have to also look at how we make sure we support them, but also support that a lot of the dollars that are spent by day visitors are actually spent in this district.
And just to follow up, is there a process by which that type of review could be undertaken? Is there a best practice way of ensuring that we're supporting those businesses?
Yes, there definitely are some really good best practice examples of other district councils doing this very well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Neil Mackay.
Tēnā koutou katoa, excuse me, and thank you for having us. I appreciate it. So I'm the chair of the Economic Development Kotahitanga Board, and the board does fully endorse the Kāpiti Gateway project as a cornerstone project in the Kāpiti Economic Development Strategy and implementation plan, and it will be an integral part of the destination plan. Look, the Gateway project is actually seen as pivotal in attracting visitors to the Kāpiti district, improving the district's attractiveness, and assisting local economic development. And you've heard from Homari, on the economic side, you've heard just a wee bit from Scott in terms of the economic benefit, the environmental benefits, and the cultural benefits would come from Russell. So, but fundamentally, all of these areas are abundant in the benefits that can be provided to our community. Now, combined, they form a strong and compelling community wellbeing framework, which is at the heart of this project. The community has played an important part in providing feedback on key aspects of the indicative business case, and some of which has been incorporated in the project. And I take the point that the process hasn't necessarily been that rigorous. But having said that, we are in a position where we have to make a decision, and as Homari said, we've got to look at things going forward and not necessarily looking at too many things going backwards, although we should take some learnings from that. The PricewaterhouseCoopers report is comprehensive. The review of the project and operating models, the alignment to Council's investment objectives, and the completion of financial analysis and risk assessment have considerably strengthened the business case. And there is a strong spirit of partnership with iwi that's sort of woven through the project and binding it together. Central government has seen the benefit of the project and has committed 2.23 million capital cost, and all of these elements that I've just talked about joined up ensure that the business case supporting the project is viable. Central government is an important strategic partner. It's critical to our economic development and growth, and this is a great opportunity to build our relationship with them and to show them that we can deliver. I think this is an exciting and significant project for our community. Cost has been minimised to ratepayers, and the benefit to our community is extensive. Board fully supports the Kāpiti Gateway project and encourage Council to proceed with the project and to approve 50% of the project funding. Thank you.
Councillor Randall.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Neil, you talked about community feedback.
Yes, I did.
Yes. How do you reconcile your views on community feedback with the local Chamber of Commerce that says the Gateway project will be remembered as a poor example of community consultation and engagement?
Yeah, look, I've only seen the views that have come back, via the report that's in front of you today, and each one of those views around aspects which included, I think, car parks, visitor growth, biosecurity fees, financial sustainability, have all come back from people asking questions and providing feedback. So that's my source. So I'm sure that the Chamber of Commerce have their own sort of lens on that and their own input, but that's where I've drawn that information from. Yep.
Councillor Compton.
Kia ora, Neil. Just a quick question about the ED Board's perspectives on the economic benefits of this. Are you aware that on the KCDC website, when they talk about what's the expected benefit of the Gateway building, there's a specific line which says, "We lack data to calculate economic benefits of the full uplift that it will generate." So we spoke last week at the briefing you gave us that there was no data on what the additional visitation that would come over and above what's the organic projected growth numbers, and there's not enough data to calculate economic benefits from it. So what have you based your endorsement of it from an economic benefit perspective if those aren't actually reflected in the business case?
That would have been a really good question for Homari, I would have thought. But am I allowed to invite Homari to answer that question? In order to give in order to give council a full.
Given that we are wanting the information, the question has been asked, with the potential to get a good answer, yes.
That's the reason I would do it, sir. Omari?
So we based it on the revised numbers that were provided in the economic impact assessment, but also in terms of other economic projects that we've worked on, and looking, like I said, a long-term view. So not only the next couple of years, but actually in 10 years' time, what that's going to look like. So for every additional tourist, if it's a local tourist, it could be up to $200 a day.
So with that in mind, given that you released your endorsement of the Gateway last week, was there not a view to release your analysis to councillors as well so we could assess that for today?
In terms of, we worked on the information that we had available. So it was just having an informed opinion by informing the data and information that we had available, if we supported that or not.
That was its purpose, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is there any other questions of economic development? Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Angus Hill-Moore from DOC.
Mauri ora ki te whare, ki a koutou ati awa ki Kāpiti, Ngāti Toa Rangatira, me Ngāti Raukawa. Nā koutou te mana whenua me te mana moana, nō reira tēnā koutou. Me guru ki a koe me ngā councillors puta noa, ka nui aku mihi ki a koutou. Koutou mā. My name's Angus Moyer and I'm the Operations Manager at the Kāpiti Wellington office for the Department of Conservation. Somewhat new, so don't ask me tricky questions. I'm here to speak in support. Our staff have the privilege of investing their love and skills into that amazing motu out there, and we also acknowledge that we're in a place now of working in co-governance with iwi partners, and that will come to fruition of our shared knowledge, traditions and our aspirations for that island as we develop the CMP, which will be the statutory plan that will guide the future of the island, and we look forward to that. That work is underway. Kāpiti is a very significant conservation site. Can't stress that enough. Richard Henry was our first Crown Ranger, and we protect out there the Ngaitahu taonga manu, little spotted kiwis, who would have been extinct, say for 5 birds that were placed on Kāpiti, and we now have a bustling population that is supplying and sourcing other places around the country. It's a really critical site that has sharpened our pest management tools, both in terms of aerial operations and ground operations. It is a really significant site in terms of our heritage and our stories, both iwi, Māori and Pākehā. So, albeit one limited way of measuring the significance to the Department of Conservation is the millions of dollars that we have invested in the restoration of that island, bringing kōkākua tieke and many other species back. And our office invests $400,000 a year to do